As long as there's been life on Earth, there have been great mysteries and unanswered questions. Where do we go when we die? What happens in the Bermuda Triangle? Where did Amelia Earhart go? Who were Jack the Ripper and the Zodiac Killer? Let's step into a world where I have all the answers. Welcome back to the channel where we explore ways in which the world could turn out radically different. Today we'll be exploring a world where we're able to communicate with the dead. Rather than simply passing on, in this deviated timeline, living people will be able to have open lines of communication with the deceased. So many of our greatest unanswered questions would be answered. Imagine if those aboard Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 could tell us this is what happened and this is where you could find us. Conspiracy theories would be squelched, millions of dollars would be saved, and most importantly, families and loved ones would have answers and closure. How would our society look differently if we could converse with the dead? Firstly, many criminal career paths would become obsolete. Any crime involving murder or death would become extremely difficult to get away with. Imagine how differently police investigations would go if police could speak directly to the cadaver. Ideally, they would just be able to instantly identify the guilty party. With one question and no time or money spent, law enforcement could have the killer. Games like Clue or Among Us would have never been invented. The entire point of the game is ruined if you know instantly that it was Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick. Crime mysteries and detective stories would never have gained popularity. We would tell Sherlock Holmes to shut up and move over so we could solve the case. Knives Out, Glass Onion, Saltburn, Gone Girl, Scream, The White Lotus, and How to Get Away with Murder. So many popular movies and TV shows simply would not exist. In this timeline, maybe Arthur Conan Doyle writes rom-coms, Edgar Allan Poe makes kids' books, and Christopher Nolan would make Barbie movies rather than Batman. Back to reality, serial killing would become near impossible. After the first victim, police could either know the killer's identity, or at least have all the information like time, location, and all the other context. These Netflix true crime docs would be a lot more difficult to produce. Rather than long, intriguing murder mysteries, the show would simply be the victim coming back and quickly stating, "Yep, it was them." And then, boom, one episode, 2 minutes long, solved with one simple finger point from beyond the grave. Imagine, Jack the Ripper and the Zodiac Killer quickly identified, Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy stopped after their first victim. Other great mysteries would be solved too. I already mentioned locating Amelia Earhart and Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, or discovering what goes on in the Bermuda Triangle. So many other questions would also have answers. JFK's assassination would be cleared up. We could simply talk to him along with Lee Harvey Oswald. We could also talk to the people who built Stonehenge. Thousands of years of obscurity cleared up by simply asking those who built it. Why did you build this? Imagine that. Okay, enough about murders. Let's look at how other aspects of our society would change if we could talk to the dead. Religion has largely shaped our world. It has played such a massive role in nation building, culture and art, conflict and crusades, and literature and lifestyle. But if we could talk to the dead, how would religion look differently? Would it even exist at all? Many of the dominant religions of the world are centered around a god or creator and beliefs around an afterlife. But in our world, the afterlife is no longer a great mystery. We could go back to anyone who has died and simply ask them, "Yo, what's up? Where do we go when we die?" Simple as that, one of our biggest mysteries is solved. Would religions have formed without death as this looming, scary mystery? Or would one religion have become fully adopted by the entire population of Earth? All the speculation would be taken away. Perhaps the Mormons were right about the afterlife. Maybe if we drink coffee, we won't be allowed into heaven. A lot of us would have to apologize for making fun of them. How would school and learning look differently too? English classes could be taught by Shakespeare and Mark Twain. Philosophy lectures led by Aristotle and Confucius. Math and science classes led by Albert Einstein, Alan Turing, and Marie Curie. School suddenly sounds so much more interesting. Knowledge would simply never be lost. Perhaps if we could communicate with the dead, we would advance much more quickly as a species. Maybe we would be on Mars. Maybe we would have invented teleportation. There are so many intriguing possibilities. Beyond school and sociological advancement, that art scene would also look radically different. While they could not physically create art posthumously, great artists would still be able to influence, ideate, and direct long past their deaths. Mozart and Jimi Hendrix could still be making music today. Just imagine what Beethoven would be able to do with 250 years of experience and a full recording studio with computers. Alfred Hitchcock could still be making movies, although he would have to branch out and go back to the old drawing board. Because remember, as previously discussed, films like Psycho or Rear Window simply would not work in this alternate timeline. Clearly, a lot of aspects of humanity could potentially be different. If we could talk to dead people, mysteries would be solved, murder would be way down, art and science could advance and develop at a much faster rate, and religion as we know it today would be turned upside down. But we need to ask a much more important question. Just because dead people could talk to us, would they? Imagine you lived a life as a Roman peasant, breaking your back each and every day to survive, never earning $1 to your name, and dying at the age of 43 from smallpox. You'd get pretty salty if you had to talk with a kid in 2024 complaining about their Uber Eats order being delayed, or getting killed in Fortnite, or what annoying thing happened at their high-paying, air-conditioned office job. You'd be saying, "I don't care what Denise from accounting did to annoy you today. When I was your age, I had trench foot and had 4 fingers blown off from a German artillery shell." Productive communication is without a doubt a learned skill, and cultural or generational barriers can make it an extremely difficult undertaking. Perhaps the dead would rather remain undisturbed than be at the beck and call of young whippersnappers. We literally put rest in peace on their tombstones. It's quite possible those whose lives have ended would rather move on to their next chapter, rather than linger around and continue to watch us make the same mistakes over and over again. In which case, this alternate timeline may not be different whatsoever. Maybe we are on it right now, and the dead could talk to us, but just choose not to. Anyway, how would you picture an alternate world where we could communicate with the dead? Would that even be something you wanted? I know who wouldn't. I'm looking at you, OJ. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to this channel, and let us know which alternate world we should dive into next. Thanks for